All right, guys. We've got MAXPAX in the bottom left side of the map and Solar in the top right. Psystorm Gaming for MAXPAX, Vitality Gaming for Solar. Solar gets his hatchery blocked and he opts for the Rich Gas. Rich Gas into Queen Walk, one of the most obvious foreshadowed strategies. Everybody knows it's coming. If Solar goes for an actual committed Queen Walk off of this purple gas base, I will be very upset. There was a few weeks when the map came out where it was still surprising Protoss players. It has not surprised a Protoss player in over a month. It is not really working very well, and I don't expect MAXPAX to fall to it. I don't mind the rich gas base, using it to set yourself up for the future. I don't mind you faking a Queen Walk and trying to scare your opponent. But if Solar just goes all out on a Queen Walk Ravager Link push, I am going to be putting down my hammer of judgment and saying, I don't like that. That's being overused. And whenever you're doing a timing attack that relies on at least some measure of surprise, you got to kind of say, hey, we can't do this every game on this map every time we take the purple gas base or it's a bit too obvious. Anyways, MAXPAX is a bit of a different beast from the other Protoss players that Solar's dismantled today. He used a lot of aggression against Estrella, a lot of defense against Hero. What do you bring versus MAXPAX? Well, MAXPAX is a god of the mid-game, the late mid-game, even of the early late game. He's very good. He's very good defensive play. He's quite good with his blink aggression. I think you can try to just go all in and catch him off guard a bunch of times. The fear is if you go too hard on that and his defense is just right, MAXPAX can kind of just defend his way to a victory. So I would like to see Solar play the full gamut of strategies. You know, do a fast lurker, rush up to Hive, a bit of a greedier game one game, and another game try to play a bit more, you know, I'm going to do a bit of an all-in. If MAXPAX is really committing to the aggression, obviously have good scouting. If you can catch it, overcommit to those early game units. Oh, beautiful Spore trick. The Adept Glaive was like inside the drone. It was like on top of the graphic as the drone when the Spore started, but still did it just in time to dodge. Two drones do go down. Ooh, that's a pretty good start, man. Dude, only losing one Adept. If you can get this one out, that'd be great. Two drones for an Adept. Getting a Zergling or two as well is massive. First Oracle's on the way behind this. So far, MAXPAX has Solar on the ropes. That's kind of the downside of taking this base. On the other hand, the moment that purple gas goes down, Solar can bounce back out of this, and I'd expect that to drop probably at 4 minutes is when I'd expect it. You don't want to delay it too long because you really want to get the benefits of it. Oh, good move. Crisp. A Zergling for the Adept there is an excellent trade. Oracle comes out, and the Ling's like, turn your laser beam on, I dare you. And of course, the Oracle continues across the map. Twilight into 3 more gateways behind this. Does look like a 4-gate Glaives follow-up, a good way to catch out this this front base. It also keeps you very safe if you're doing that against the Queen Walk that we were talking about. Ooh, Oracle takes a lot of damage for just 2 drones. And you'll notice Solar's not doing anything spicy. It's just defend the 3 bases, get the normal setup. Just after 4 minutes, that purple gas does go down. Now, we could still see a... Yeah, he's doing a Queen Walk. Wow, that's a surprising strategy. Guys, can you believe it? Doing a Queen Walk. The most obvious strategy in the world. To be fair, MAXPAX taking this base strikes me as insane. I've seen a few Protoss players do this, guys, and a purple gas, just to me, is not worth the risk of building your Nexus next to their creep spread. To me, the only thing more ridiculous than Solar doing the same build that I knew he was going to do the moment he took that hatchery is MAXPAX taking a Nexus right next to it. Am I crazy? I mean, don't get me wrong, he's doing a very safe build. 4-gate Blink with no Forge because he expects this. But I feel like with creep on your doorstep, you still might get overwhelmed. It's only 36 drones for Solar. 7 Roaches are building. 8 Roaches now. He's going to go for about 10 Roaches, I believe. Lings do go for a surround. Worth it if he gets a Stalker and gets out. The fact that there's only 1 Oracle on the map means this is all about the early Stalker count growing, and I think that's probably the right thing to be focusing on in this scenario. MAXPAX will try to take that base. MAXPAX is already up 11 workers, so he's got to be careful with that probing, but he does not have the confirmation of the all-in yet. Sees a Ravager. Oh, he sees a Ravager. He knows what's up. Okay. Extra battery. He needs a pylon here. If that pylon goes down, these get depowered. So 1 more pylon there would be great. And just non-stop Stalker weapons. Yeah, beautiful pylon placement. He's still only on 4 gates, but he does have Blink. And I'd like him to start fighting out front and then blink back a little bit. Yeah. There we go. Good moves. If you can get a Ravager or 2 before this even starts. Wow. Ravager and 2 transfusers already down the drain. But Lings do come in. Battery Overcharge is going to need to get used real early, and that's always rough having to use that so fast. Because look, the Biles will start taking out the Battery Overcharge, but all the Lings are already dead. Oh my god. Max, okay, so I made fun of Solar for choosing this strategy, saying it was really obvious and dumb to do something that's so easy to guess is going to happen. I thought MAXPAX's reaction was kind of insane, but I realized as I see this fight, I've seen that exact same fight happen against a different Zerg before, same scenario, I think against Dark. And it's like deja vu. MAXPAX clearly knows how to defend this position from this attack. I mean, he crushed that first wave, but Biles do come in, a couple Stalkers getting swarmed. There's still 3 Ravages and Mass Ling. Dude, could Solar find the damage? He's mining so many less resources. He needs big damage. The Ravages need to focus that battery down. He's trying to click on it. The Lings just can't get the surface area back here. Oh, man, those Stalkers start to get overwhelmed. Is MAXPAX actually going to get overrun here? 11 probes end up dying over the course of this fight. But Solar's like all in, and he just has to keep going. That's his weakness. There's still 12 Stalkers up right now. The army supply is way ahead for Solar. MAXPAX, I like that revelation. Getting rid of that creep is huge. Of course, Solar's going to immediately respread it. Purple gas is up. We'll see how we go, man. No balance whining in the chat. Eponymou, you're a regular. You know better than that, my friend. Solar's doing one of the most obvious strategies in the game. We can't be one-sided saying Protoss overpowered. When you do something this obvious, MAXPAX, yes, he took a forward Nexus, but everything else in his game plan is designed to crush this attack. Solar is having zero surprise in this, but he's still executing it so bloody well, and MAXPAX's front base, is it a bit too cocky? He's lost a lot of Stalkers, but those Ravages are exposed. Big Biles landing on the warping in Stalkers. MAXPAX with some miss micro. I think he could have maybe blinked some of those Stalkers or moved them out of the way, maybe. But dude, I think Solar might have him. The front Nexus here is insane, and yeah, you know what? It looked like MAXPAX had this perfectly mapped out. If he gets the Ravages, there's nothing behind this. It is just Lings, remember. Oh, lots of gas for Solar to make more Ravages behind. The Nexus survives, my god. He's killed a total of 32 probes this game, guys. But MAXPAX just keeps building workers through it. All of the value, the good trading Solar's had is from probe kills. But he's still only ahead 1,000 resources in that. Whilst at the same time, MAXPAX is back up 10 workers again. And MAXPAX has the rich gas mining as well. So MAXPAX is just warping in units, Stalkers, Adepts, everything he can. They'll still have 2 batteries up here as well that over time gets so much value. That Creep Shimmer gets picked off. Oh, Creep! Queen transfuse is good. Queen doesn't quite take out the Queens. Nice transfuses all around there. Stalkers blinking back nicely. Ravages, Lings, and Queens bouncing forward. Those Stalkers a bit slow to blink there. A little slow on the battery overcharge. He starts using it on the left side, but the units are getting swarmed. Biles do come forward. Lings getting the surrounds. The battery overcharge goes down, but there's not many Lings left. The Stalker's trying to focus the Ravages down on the left, but they're getting swarmed by the Lings, and it feels like Solar might actually be able to do this. Damn, dude. This was like such a statement from both players. Solar's like, I can just do the strategy you know is coming, and it'll work anyway. And MAXPAX is like, I can take a base next to your creep spread and beat you anyway. At the end of the day, looks like Solar's coming out on top. Solar's second and third wave assault when his first wave fails is so much better than almost any other Zerg player. He wins so many games where it looks like his attack's not working anymore, and he just keeps swarming and finding the fight. Now, to be fair, it's not over yet because Stalkers are a good unit, but those Lings, every time he blinks forward, he gets punished, and that's where Solar's been finding the value. Solar still hasn't droned up. He's just transferred workers. He's even pulled off gas a little bit in the main. He's like, 2 gases is enough. That's enough to make a handful of Ravages, and as long as I have a mass of Zergs behind that, I am good. Respreads creep down that side. Ling's going for the surround. He forces that blink. If he could surround like 1 or 2 Stalkers, that would have been good. I don't think this is a good attack for Solar, but wait. Gets 2 Stalkers. Oh, blink is ready, though. Yeah, worth it. Anytime you trade Zerglings at better than 7-1, anything, you know, you can trade 6 Zerglings for a Stalker, you're ahead on the units lost. Especially now that you've got a third mining and he doesn't. MAXPAX mining is starting to whittle down. It's lowering over time. The Stalker's trying to blink back. He just does not have anything that's great against Zerglings. Zerglings are so good against Stalkers because the Stalkers overkill so bad. Stalker's not bad versus the Ravages, but it's the fact that if you focus the Ravages, the Lings rip you apart while you're doing so. And man, what a crazy Chad gamer moment for both of these players at the start of this series. There were some Lings that tried to run by, but a Zealot warped in and defended. It feels like it's just been back and forth from start to finish. Both players trying to send a message at the start, and that is, I don't need to misdirect. I can do the most obvious in-your-face strategy. The fact that Solar got a win here sets the stage for this series, and it gives me a massive hope for him to win the entire finals. Well, this map's going to be a little bit better for MAXPAX. And the top right side, it's Dynasty. And he's going to go for a very safe high ground wall off. Interesting. A lot of players like to wall off down here, but He's going to wall off the high ground, take the gold base, probably play a very standard Oracle Blink. Solar is also, oh my god, playing very risky. He's going to take the gold base on the outside. If you get the purple gas and the gold base, it is a huge boost. But it's a 15-15 opening as well, guys. So it's a very fast hatchery that he's taken here. Wow. He's trying to get that hatchery up as quickly as possible just so we can get queens out defending it very early, I believe. I think the idea being that he's going to get probably... He might go creep tumor first and start spreading creep back to connect his bases, or even just push creep in front of it. It'll be interesting. Pig's Tinder lit up tonight? What you talking about? Stop bullying. You guys been hearing phone noises? I don't think my phone's been buzzing at all. Hatchery's there. Probe sees it. Very nice. You've always got to worry about the second and the third wave. I feel like MAXPAX kind of crushed the first wave, but there was a point in those engagements where the Stalkers just started dropping like flies, and he just didn't quite have enough in there. Maybe a few more Zealot Warpins just mixed in to help fight against those Zealots a bit more efficiently, or those Zerglings, I should say. Dude, look at this transfer. What the hell? That's a big drone transfer. So risky. And Solar's looking for this to pay off as quickly as possible so that he can macro up out of this exposed position, because he knows it's going to be so hard to defend. Does he put 3 workers on gas? Oh, this is his first gas as well. Yeah, and then he puts 3 workers on gas as well. Oh, this is amazing. Dude. Look at this. Wow. The income boost is massive. And MAXPAX is taking a quick Nexus as well. He should transfer workers out. He's going to go Twilight. This is going to be very interesting. Pig looks like the sort of guy to levitate towards an open windowsill if he smells fresh baked pie. I mean, damn, man. I do love baked products. Dude, if there's like a stirring spoon from someone who's been like baking a cake or something, you get me like the whisk, you know, when you detach like the whisks off the electric blender. Oh, so good. Thank you so much for the tip, Yoda. Appreciate it, dude. Depth's shading backwards as well. Depth's trying to shave forwards. Here we go. 2 queens are up. Third one building. Link speed's on the way as well. Oh, watch out, watch out, watch out. Drones. Good sport trick. Queens. Okay, we're going to lose 1 drone. If we lose 2, that kind of sucks, but already get some good damage. MAXPAX needs a bit more here. Oh, this is a really good way to abuse this, though. As that queen comes over, you will get pushed out. Good choice to just pull away for now. He has pulled off gas. Interesting that Solar pulled off gas. I feel like it's so worth to mine that gas. Look at that, dude. The Adepts are in the main now as well. Oh, my God. And only on 25 workers versus 35. Remember, MAXPAX gold base is going as well right now. Dude, that's more than enough disruption because he's forced 5 queens out. Solar is so far behind on the income right now. The worker count. I mean, yes, he's got a gold base fully mining, but he's got to drone these 3 bases up. He just had to build 16 Zerglings. And what's he going to do with 16 Lings, guys? Is he going to try and bust the ramp? I mean, to be fair, there's no units. Dude, if he can kill the Adept, that would be great. Oh, the Lings, get in, Solar, get the surround. Oh my God, Solar's going to kill him. Oh my gosh, MAXPAX only has 3 gates. He's going to lose the Stalker. Oh, the Stalker goes down, but the 2 Adepts are there. Okay, getting a Stalker and Adept is good. He gets some good value. He's droning, building a Rotoran. He should be back on purple gas now. He is. He's got that hatchery up. If Solar can get a 4th hatchery up as well, that'll be really good for his transition. But right now, he's got to deal with 4-gate Glaives and a Prism coming forwards across this map. New Stalker warps in. It's going to take care of the Overlord. And look at the gate count, guys. It's 6-gate, not 4-gate. Sorry. Correction from Pig the Caster. He got it wrong. 2 Adepts on the right side. So he's going to try and hit the left with everything he's got, and then 2 Adepts will slide in on that right side, surprise this middle line. I like that there's a Spine Crawler building, so he's kind of anticipating it, but it's not ready just yet. And I'm telling you, man, these Adepts are a distraction. The real thing's swinging in, and Solar's not watching it. Solar's so focused on the top. Those Adepts are distracting him so very well. He's already lost 4 drones there. Make it 5. These Adepts do so much damage, man. Lings get down there, but that opens up an opportunity on the north. And look at this. These Adepts, yeah, they get surrounded. They shade out. They can come back for more. MAXPAX all over Solar in game 2. Both players not giving either one room to breathe. The Adepts go into the main base. Roaches getting picked off. And you know when your Roaches and Ravagers are dying to the Adepts that things are rough as the Zerg player. Ling's trying to wrap around, but of course the Adepts do not care. Bio lands on only one of those, I believe. A little unlucky that it didn't manage to hit the others with the splash damage. And those Adepts coming forwards. Ooh! Here we go. Adepts coming forward. Queens out there in trubs. Those queens are going down. One of them falls. Adepts are still doing way too much damage. 38 probes to 25. Third Nexus and Immortals are on the way behind this. And he gets another drone and the queens. MAXPAX all over it. No reason to let that queen escape. She goes down, cancels the shade, and Solar. He took a big risk, but those adepts going around to attack this from the inside was so smart by MAXPAX, and it paid off huge. Forge goes down behind this. More Immortals are building. He could just follow up with a big Adept Immortal attack. That's a good way to finish off your opponent when you're already ahead, or if you've just got them just even a little bit behind. It's just a scary attack they have to respect. MAXPAX might only be up 7 workers, but that is huge when you've already traded so well. 1,000 resources of extra value, not to mention... do we get income graph on this overlay? No, we don't. That's cool. $19 Adepts are there. Prism's going to pick up the Immortals. Let's go. Does this map suck for Zerg against Protoss? Yeah. This is why this was MAXPAX's first map pick. I'm surprised that Sol is so confident in Crimson Court with that Roach Ravager push that he's like, yeah, I can just do this every game. And maybe I'm the wrong one. After seeing what happened, maybe I'm the one whose analysis is off. That push is so good, it's so hard to stop. I do think, though, I don't know. I disagree, but I could be proven wrong. Depends how... I'd look forward to seeing if Solar does it at Dallas. Solar does that same push on Crimson Court in Dallas. That'll be interesting, but Solar should be dead now. He doesn't really have an answer to the Adepts. And look at that. The Adepts are just like, lol, you thought we were going to fight? Just kidding. The Immortal can drop the south side. Meanwhile, the Adepts there are going to cut down a bunch of drones and then run away. And they do shade out of there. Immortals in the south, picking off what they can. Should be picking up the Immortals and putting them on the other side of the minerals, where obviously they can excel. Queen taking big damage. Roach will disappear. Drones have to pull back, and the Lings rotate back down. You can pick this up and bounce around as much as you want. Adepts are just shredding. Even the Roaches, there's just not enough of them. So the Adepts wreck the Zerglings, but they also beat the Roaches in such low numbers. Immortal's still ready here. Just goes for the redrop. You're struggling so hard to deal with the Adepts. All these Immortals need to do is drop once in a while, get some extra damage in, and once again, Solar's back to 2 base mining against a Protoss who's up 12 workers and up an extra base of effective mining. Adepts take out a Ravager. The Immortals down there pick up. They ferry across the minerals and say, no mining on that gold base rich gas for you. That is deadly, dude. Absolutely deadly. MAXPAX ties up the series. All right, guys. Down here in the bottom right side, Solar now back to the more even maps for both sides. Site Delta is going to be map 3. For Solar's pick. It's a pretty good map against Protoss. I feel like Protoss does struggle to defend some of those wide open spaces, but quite balanced overall as a map. Good harassment so far. And of course, MAXPAX forced Solar to take the third, which is interesting because I feel like Solar more and more lately has been doing 14 hatchery to allow himself to take his natural, and MAXPAX always sends the probe across. So it's a safe bet that if you go for that 14 hatchery, which Solar likes to do after Overlord, that you can get it down. And it'll be worth cutting those drones because you know he's going to come in with those probes. Oh, it's a Twilight opening, guys. MAXPAX going for Warp Gate there. Oh, no, he cancels it. Starts the Stargate. Never mind. I was like, that's an odd pylon placement for a Twilight to go. But obviously, he was just faking the Warp Gate for a few seconds. Solar sees it with his Overlord. He sees it stop upgrading and then start upgrading again only after the second Adept begins. So you can see that start spinning right now. And this is the standard thing. That says Stargate opening. You're not starting Warp Gate till 240? Oh, yeah, that's got to be Stargate. It's pretty early to Adepts as well, man. Was this core before Nexus? Such early Adepts arriving. Wow. Hard to deal with, but... so far, good micro by Solar. And, the Adept doesn't focus fire, so it gets damage. Those Lings regen really quickly, though. Remember, all Zergs regen at the same rate. So if you're a very low life unit like a drone or a Zergling, getting that hit point every 2.67 seconds is actually really significant. Zerglings and the Queen here trying to defend. You're going to have to run drones away from this. Yeah, one drone does fall. These early Adepts causing issues. I like that Zergling move forward. Good move, good move. Gets a bit of damage on both Adepts. Both Adepts being heavily wounded is really nice. They have to back away. You've got Ling speed. Now, he's going back up to 10 Zerglings. You could argue this is an overcommitment since the Adepts are already damaged. But what it allows is it allows Solar to pressure, maybe snipe the probe, keep the Protoss on the defensive for a little bit, and, hey, he might get himself... he should get one Adept. Yeah, one Adept gets the Oracle to turn on its laser, and that actually allows you to skip spores. I mean, he's got 4 queens, so he technically doesn't need a Spore Crawler anyway, because he's got two in the main, 2 in the third. But it just, even more than that, it just makes sure the Oracle can't get in and harass you as early as it otherwise would. So, great start so far in terms of the Lings being nice and useful. However, it's not really going to be able to beat that Adept in that corner, especially with the Oracle there. And that probe count is just so far ahead from MAXPAX off the early double Adept. Does feel like Solar's struggling to catch up economically. Spore finishes. I think it's a good choice to back away from MAXPAX. That was a good choice. Keep the Oracle healthy, wait for the second one to come in. This is where you're going to find the damage. And then the other one can double back. Oh, pulls back the drone. Solar's really good on his micro, but he's just so far behind economically. He's now built 2 spores, 6 queens, 10 more zerglings. He's already lost 14 of them for 1 adept and 1 probe this game, so amazing trading for the Protoss. Oracle flying in from the middle. I mean, that's a bit of a crazy part. That almost seemed like a misclick for a second, but it looks like he's just trying to distract. Oh, he does the 2-prong, so he tried to come in from both sides of the mineral line to catch him out. He gets 2 drones, goes back for more. Dude, Solar's on point. MAXPAX is being really tricky with this, though. And again, he goes back in the main. You're kidding me. Dude, 6 drones, and I think he recalled his Oracle. Where is it? Yeah, he saved the other Oracle. Wow, very tricky play. Now, Evo Chamber's on the way. It's already finished, over in the natural. And he's going to go melee. On the other hand, that's a quick robo. He's building it under the Overlord. Bit of a tell there. I might be thinking, oh, is this Charge Archon? Are you playing Blink or not? Because if you are playing Blink, that makes me think Colossus. And if it's not, that could already just be building early, Observer, Prism, and then non-stop Immortal production if it was a charge build. Ooh, Oracle's coming forward. They start taking some damage, but the Adept's going into the natural. That's where the damage could happen with a good bit of focus fire. MAXPAX isn't split firing at all. There we go. You could see he finally grabbed 2 Adepts and started shooting different things with those 2 Adepts on the back compared to the front. The shade into the main gets 1 Adept in there. With a bit of focus fire, you get a little, but of course he's focusing on the real damage dealers, the double Oracles at the third. 12 workers going down there. The Oracles should pull home to defend. He's got Stalkers and a battery. Should be careful with those Stalkers. Make sure they're in battery range and not easily surroundable. But I guess with the Oracles nearby, he doesn't care too much. Second Forge coming in. This is the early Second Forge style that MAXPAX loves. I remember back in 2017, I invented it. I got sick of having a micro-size storm. I was such a lazy player at the time. I was like, man, having to use spells is hard. And I remember at the time inventing a double Forge style, which was just crazy at the time. No one played double upgrades, or no pro gamers anyway. Obviously, there's always guys on the ladder doing interesting creative things. Probably want to get rid of that Overlord. Anyways, point being, I started going double Forge Mass Immortal Archon, and I realized just how much Protoss players were sleeping on armor upgrades. Because when you see, for instance, if they go +2 melee and they don't have a range upgrade, their Hydras or Roaches, when they're losing 2 or 3 damage in attack against an Immortal or a Zealot, because you've got +2 armor, it's actually kind of crazy. And then I realized, like, hey, if I have Guardian Shield and +2 armor, my Immortals have -5 on a Hydra's attack, which is 12 damage. It's going down to 7 damage in attack. And this was like a regular scenario I would run into at the time. People would have like 20 Hydras with no +1 range upgrade. And I'd have +2 armor, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, anytime a Zealot run by was fighting with like 2/2 or something up against a bunch of Zerglings in a mineral line, the Zealots would rip him to shreds. And it kind of dawned on me. I was like, dude, why do we never get these upgrades? I get it's hard to get them if you're playing a standard style and at pro level, but it's so powerful as those upgrades kick in. So really, like, don't get me wrong, it's dangerous because it's such a long investment. It's a lot of money to put into something that takes forever to pay off. The longer the game goes, the more chance that gets to pay off, the more skirmishes and small fights there are that don't immediately decide the game, the better that upgrade investment ends up being worth it. So you got to be very careful as a double upgrade player to not let your whole army just get wiped in one big fight. And really, you just want to buy time for those upgrades to be more effective later on. A bunch of Stalkers go down, but he killed quite a lot of Zerglings. 50 Zerglings go down. Zealots are on the right side. It's a Gateway Man style, guys. 4 gases, and he's going up to 8 gateways. Zealot drop comes in on the left side, finds himself a Baneling Nest. Double upgrades for Solar are on the way, but Solar's on the back foot. The Stalkers on the left are kind of bullying him. Solar pulls his whole army to the right, hesitates a little bit before finally jumping back on top of these Stalkers on that left side, but he can't chase into the stasis traps. Oh, the Queen Spore will kill the Prism, but not before the Zealots have their way with him. Luckily for Solar, there's no charge, but MAXPAX is just in his face, trading like a savage. Zealots in the top are going to kill that 5th base as well. That goes down, killed, no cancel, of course. There's way too much going on for Solar to be canceling hatcheries up there. when he's got to just focus on surviving. And this Stalker micro is insane. I said it earlier before the series started, MAXPAX multitasking can be out of this world. It's much higher level than a lot of other players out there. If he gets momentum and starts getting zealots in your base, he is so hard to beat. Alrighty then, going into the next map. It's Alcyon, a fantastic map. And he goes for the 14 hatchery, does Solar. So he beats MAXPAX from blocking him. We saw how good that 2 adept pressure was for MAXPAX. It just set him up for success. And I do think Solar overbuilt Zerglings afterwards. I said, oh, you know, it could be argued he overbuilt, but at least he'll get map control, kill an adept. But then he lost a bunch of Zerglings, didn't really get much damage. And it felt like from there, he was already like a bit behind, and then he was kind of a bit further behind, and then that fantastic multi-prong Oracle pressure from MAXPAX, just so hard to handle. I really feel when you play against MAXPAX or Hero, the early game defense of your worker lines is so difficult. And I think Serral makes it look kind of easy sometimes, where he's just blocking every bit of adept Oracle pressure, and you're like, oh, yeah, it's not that hard, just do what Serral... And then you realize how much multitasking is involved, because they're so flexible. They're over here with an Oracle, and they dart out, then they go right back in, then they go back out again, and they're microing in 2 or 3 places, and it's really hard to tell where they're going to commit, because, well, it's not just a, I'm Protoss, me commit here, this one's a fake. It's, they react to where your defenses are. So you need to just have a very balanced spread of queens and spores and whatnot, and I've been talking about this earlier today, how, like, against Hero, for instance, one of the best PvZ openers sometimes, when he's feeling it, you kind of have to accept that you can't chase the oracles too far away, because the moment you chase them too far and move out of your mineral line, you always open up a path for more adepts or oracles to come in from another angle and surprise you. So I think you've got to kind of think of it almost as like your queens need to be like leashed to a mineral line, and they can't chase beyond a certain distance, or you end up opening yourself to being surprised. Adepts coming in. This time around, you can already see it's only a 5 worker difference. Not as bad. Ling speed isn't quite done. There's plenty of Zerglings, though. Shading in here would be a little crazy. That being said, Solar's Queen wasn't quite on top of it. Does still get some good damage nonetheless, though. Lings go after this, but notice the way MAXPAX kind of threatens heading towards the worker line and then pulls away, focus firing. How many Zerglings? 3 Zerglings. Doesn't lose the Adept. Nice play. Yeah, I want to see Solar really drone up super hard here. Drones and Queens, stay a little lighter on the Zerglings this game if you can. You got 7 Lings, they've got Ling speed now, that should be enough. First Oracle sneaking down the right side of the map. I like that he's got an Overlord on the edge. It's a bit too far on the edge. I think it could be placed here. It would still see to the edge of the map, but it would also reveal this area, which Solar can't actually see right now. So yeah, it's not too bad though. As long as you can see all the way to the edge of the map, that's the important thing, which is why, like I said, the Overlord could be here or something like that. This Overlord also gives a little bit of vision up there. Could be maybe pushed out a bit further, though. Adepts coming in along with the Oracle. Oracle takes a bit of damage. Chipping paint off the Oracle. Actual hit points, not just shields, is always good. Drone pops out and gets focused. Nice attention to detail for MAXPAX. He will lose a pylon, though, at his 3rd base, so that's pretty good. Oracle comes in the natural, as does the Adept Shade. Lings take out the Adept. Looking at the units lost tab, this looks a bit better for Solar. He's finally catching MAXPAX not fully prepared at home, and that Adept stumbling into the Zerglings. Oh. Bit of a dirty trade there. The Lings will die, but Oracles have to be sent home to do that. Evo Chambers on the way. Drones are building. Finally, Solar has momentum in the early game in this series. You can see a stark difference to that last game when he gets his hatchery down. And this is one of those things I've been saying is MAXPAX tries to block you every game. You should never let MAXPAX block you, because he never does a no scout opening. He never does a greedy build that would punish you for going 14 hatchery. He always goes for the exact same thing, just early probe to block your hatchery, but it's never a super duper early probe, or very rarely at least. So MAXPAX's biggest weakness, I've said for a long time, is his predictability. He's kind of taken the Serral path and improvement, where even though he does mix in the occasional timing attack or this or that, he doesn't have anywhere near the range some of these more veteran players have. Like, he doesn't have as many different strategies to choose from, and his openings, he'll do the same thing 5-10 times in a row sometimes if he feels it's the best opening. And that's good for practicing your macro and learning to play a perfect game, but it's also abusable by a very clever opponent. Now, he does get an Adept and then pull back. Good choice to back away there. Oracle's getting deflected by the 2 Queens and the Spore in the main. Beautiful Queen block on those Adepts as well. MAXPAX starting to finally just find himself 1 step behind. And yet I look at the worker count. Is he really 1 step behind? He's up in workers. How is he ahead in Lurkers and he's got room to go second foot? It's because these oracles are just ridiculous, man. They're so good. And it's not because the unit's overpowered. It's because in MAXPAX hands it's overpowered, you know? This is like the Terran conundrum. It's like the Marine is such an average unit usually. And then you give it to like Maru and beyond and you're like, Clem, and you're like, wow, Marines are overpowered, you know? The skill expression with certain unit interactions, especially things like Oracle Harass in the early game, is truly spectacular. And that's what we love to see in StarCraft, right? If someone makes you feel like something's so grossly unfair, always pay respect to that player for make you feeling that. If someone does something that feels super ridiculously unfair in StarCraft, always show some respect to the player, because even if there's something in the game that's allowed them to do that, it's always only them knowing when and where to do that, practicing it thousands of times to execute it, that allows it to go down. Of course, there's a lot of people who are big fans of StarCraft who seem to never have figured that one out. Their balance is the answer to everything. Game's unfair for me, always. It's a really good life mindset. I look forward to seeing you guys who always comment about balance complaints in the salt mines in the future. I'll stop teasing. I'll stop baiting you all. Definitely a few regulars I see out there in the Twitch chat or the YouTube comments, and just like every day they just harp on about the same things, and I'm like, I don't know if this is a healthy thing for you to be thinking about, man. Seems like you're fixated. Stalker, Observer, Oracle coming forward. Nice pressure, but Solar's already got a Hive on the way. So as long as he doesn't take too much damage here, he should be good. He's got a Roach Horn, but he hasn't really used it. Didn't even bother with a Roach Speed. The Ling run-bys are great. Stalkers can just blink away, though. You don't want to chase into that now. Not with the cannon and the battery there. Time to back away, bring those Lings back. And it sets off the Stasis Trap. Good call. How many Stalkers have died? One Stalker. Units Lost tab is still good for MAXPAX, like in terms of it being positive. He does have a fourth base up playing this Mass Gateway style. He's going to start a Robo Bay now. Do you guys think it's Colossus? I would always expect it to be Disruptors, and yet lately I've seen some guys like MAXPAX just love the ranged, consistent firepower of the Colossus mixed in. Not great against Lurkers, but it's okay. Prism in the top left, ready to go. I like that we're starting to build spines behind the mineral lines, guys. I do think it's better to put the spine in the choke point. I don't know about you guys, like in the choke point, but it looks like he's doing this on purpose, because I've seen him do this a few times with his spines, where rather than putting it like right in the pocket, he puts it one space back, just to let it, I guess, a few more Zealots get stuck if they don't micro. Queen's taking some damage, as are the Overlords. Should be able to chase it back, though. Stasis Trap freezes a lot of those Lings. Cybercore is going to go down. The Cybercore very exposed there. That's why he's going for it. Battery's pretty helpful, but without battery overcharge, it will fall. Oh, no, it won't. He pulls back. Zealots come in from the other side. Hydras will deal with the Zealots, but on the right side, Hydra's starting to get cleansed. They've got Groove Spines at least. Oh, the Lings on the other side going down. MAXPAX multi-prong is very scary. You really need to just have an abundance of units here to stop MAXPAX picking at you. His mobility with the Oracles, the Stalkers, the Blink is massive. And yeah, it's that Colossus. Like I said, he loves the Colossus in this scenario. Even though you know Lurkers are probably the next step, he's like, nah, they'll wreck the Lings, they'll wreck the Hydras. Let's get the Colossus, because they can just move and shoot constantly. Give you a lot of mobility. Stalkers and Oracles about to get jumped on. There are some Stasis Traps back here. Those Oracles need to get out. MAXPAX loses 2 Oracles. Youch. Looks like he messed up his control groups a little there. A few Zealots on the right could go into counterattack, as could this big Zealot backstab. But I like the way Solar claims the tower and immediately pulls back, almost hoping that MAXPAX sends these Zealots in and he can clean them up. Look, he's split up right now. He saw the Zealots there. He's moving up. If he can get on top of that Prism and focus it down with the Hydras, that'd be big. You want to lead with the Hydras and focus the Prism if you're able. Second Robo, Templar Archives, 3-2 upgrades on the way. Remember, guys, there's only one Evo chamber. Actually, no, there is 2, but he hasn't really used the second Evo that much. Definitely wants to be getting that if he has gas later on in the game. Right now, Solar's 2 gas starved. Zealots are just waiting for the run-bys. Still Mass Stalker Zealot with a single Colossus out. The Colossus will roast Zerglings in that choke point, but the Lurkers are now established up there. Zealot's starting to come in, and look at that. Prism does manage to run the gauntlet. That Spore Crawler not able to stop it. Hydras clean up the Zealots on the left. Stalkers are in the middle with the Colossus. Zealot dropping the main ain't going to do that much. Good scramble here by Solar to deal with this. Lurkers in the middle clean up a few Stalkers. Looks like a Hydra or 2 went down as well. Zealots on the right side don't find anything. There's a Spine Crawler there. A few Spores also. Spores along the edges to stop Prisms flying past like that one did is always a good idea. There are 2 Queens and some Lings and Hydras in the main. I feel like I'd personally just leave a few Spores around so we don't have to watch for that flying back in. But unlikely it'll be a big cause for concern anyway. Good chance MAXPAX F2s it in at some point. Zealots going after the long-distance drone mining on the gold base. Hydra will be falling. Remember, Hydras are very fragile, guys, so anytime Zealots engage on them like that, it's good for the Zealots. Stasis Trap freezes some Zerglings in the top left. Zealots smashing against these Zerglings. Remember, Zerglings don't have any carapace upgrades, so the Zealots are two-shotting them, and they're taking very little damage from the Zerglings because of their own armor upgrades. The Zealots are starting to trade quite decently. Remember, even trading's fine if you're up 7 workers as the Protoss player. MAXPAX is happy with that as he starts to diversify his tech and do 3 Colossus, 3 Immortals now are building, plus 3 attacks. Storm has started. If he can start Plasma Shields now as well, add some Archons to beef out the front line of his army. Ooh, that would be excellent. On the other hand, that's 13 Lurkers and he has no Disruptors. No Disruptors? Oh my gosh. I really feel like Disruptors are essential here, guys. I could be wrong. Stalker Colossus is good for moving and shooting, but not much else. That gold base has to get forfeited. Does not have Storm yet. He manages to kill 1 Lurker. Doesn't quite get the second one. And oh my god, he loses all of his High Templar, half of his Stalkers. MAXPAX taking a little long to make the decision to abandon that base. That being said, his gold base does go in. And this is what I was talking about. Why you want to leave spores. MAXPAX could do a big Zealot whooping. The Queens are on top of it. He does end up going back to the safety of the corner. Zealots are in the mineral line. Zealots going to come in from the left side as well. Hydras in nearby though. Those Hydras, oh, they barely move out of position. And he's going to split those Zealots into 2 different mineral lines. Gets into the natural there. A few of those drones start to go down as well as those Hydras. In the third base, looks like those got cleaned up as well as over in the fourth. Down here, reclaiming the watchtower, at least attempting to, is MAXPAX. Zealot in the main base gets cleaned up by the Spinecrawler. In the main base, the Queens, the Lings, and the Hydras get it as well. That should be a big turn in efficiency. Notice MAXPAX is now trading worse because he sends all these Zealots in, doesn't get crazy value. That being said, he's been chronoing his Robos. He's now on 7 Immortals with 2 more building. That's great. He's going to be on 9 Immortals, 4 Archons, 3 Colossus soon. That's a powerful army. Unfortunately, his upgrades stalled out. He finally starts +3 armor. He does not have the gas to start shields as well. Shields, of course, would be a massive upgrade in the long term, but right now he's not prioritizing it. Catching a few Lurkers in the open is really good, but he's got to pull back. That's too many Lurkers, I think. They're a bit spread out, though. They're a little bit spread out, mate. Ooh, this game is so close. Marcella warping! Oh, watch out, Lurker Den! Lurker Den in the open. Oh, damn. Solar did such a good job of defending the previous waves, but the fact that MAXPAX kept that Prism alive, that is the MAXPAX multitasking that we talk about. I'm telling you, this man with his Zealot Harass is a fiend. He's an absolute beast. He's a goddamn warrior, man. His Zealot multi-prong. And he catches unsupported Lurkers in the mid-ground, cleanses them with the righteous fury and fire of Protoss, and that is going to be that. MAXPAX wins today's finals with that excellent fight, just forces Solar to panic and F2 his army back, and he catches 8-9 Lurkers in the middle of the map with no support, and that's going to be devastating. Hitting that with a big broadside of Immortals and Colossus. Units lost up, of course, was starting to go very poorly for Solar, and those Zealot run-bys were just incessant. So hard to deal with, and going to cost him that one. MAXPAX looking like an absolute beast to this matchup. GG, well played.